digital media reporter for Adweek. And as we work out a couple of things, she's going to maybe take a couple of quick audience polls so we hear about who's in the room and some of our own opinions on OTT. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also a professional vamper. Let's try it. Hello? We'll figure it out. We can project. This is going to be the first little bit of audience participation. Don't be scared. We're not going to come into the audience like cats or anything. If I could just get a show of hands, who would consider themselves a cord cutter? So you had cable and now you decided no longer to have cable anymore. You're going just streaming or OTT. Okay. Now raise your hand if you're a cord never. So you're never about that nasty cable business. You're always in. Great. Let's get a show of hands. Who subscribes to Netflix? Awesome. Not sponsored. ABC, who subscribes to Hulu in any capacity, both their live or SVOD? Great. Where's my Amazon Prime Video members at? Okay. That's an interesting mix. That was fun. We looked around. That was like a fun data pull. So what we're going to be talking about today is kind of broad strokes, kind of the overall landscape, what we've been learning along the way so far, and then we'll end with kind of a forward-looking type perspective on what we can look forward to. After the overall panel, we will open up for audience Q&A. So think of your nuggets of questions for the end of it, and please make sure they're actual questions and don't disguise it to be just a statement about your own lives. They're very fascinating, so we're here for questions. So to get us started, if we want to just go down we can start with Greg, just go down the line, describe who you are and kind of your capacity at your job.
So the name is Greg Isaacs. I'm the Chief Product and Marketing Officer for a company called the Brand and Entertainment Network, or BEN. Our focus and our mission in life is to get brands, global brands, integrated into premium content, ranging from streaming to television to film, and more recently, but a very big part of our business is social media content. We do that. We're very fortunate to work with some of the biggest brands in the world: Microsoft, Dyson, Heineken, Zillow, just to name a few. We help them find the right content through our proprietary technology, and then get that brand integrated seamlessly, and then give them results to show that they got an effective ROI. The company we're very fortunate to be 100% owned by Bill Gates, and as a lot of you know, he panned content as king 20 plus years ago. So this is a space he's very excited about driving forward with some innovative solutions.
Thanks. My name is Renee, and I work within the media and innovation, within media analytics within Nielsen, and I oversee solutions and innovation. And so I'm going to be here speaking about some of the more cutting edge things that Nielsen is providing measurement for and establishing currency. SVOD is obviously a growing area of viewing for all media partners. And we're also looking at new ways that we can provide measurement across all digital platforms, which is important to OTT.
I'm Scott Rosenberg. I lead Roku's ad business in our New York office. This is not our main office. This is our secondary office. Our ad business is composed of three components. One is we're an entertainment device, and so we're constantly thinking about how to market apps and content to you. So our big ad vertical is, of course, content partners, trying to get you into a Roku subscription or get you to buy a movie, spend time with your Roku. The second part of our ad business is a direct sales effort. So we take audiences across hundreds of channels on Roku, roll it all up, apply the data, and the fact that we control the platform and the ad execution, we take that to market as a pure play OTT audience and position it with advertisers as a way to reach the cord cutters and the cord nevers. And then the third part of what we do in advertising is to try and put the requisite ad tech into our operating system that helps all this new form of TV advertising go.
My name is John Caldwell. I work for a company called Synacor, and I'm responsible for our business development, and it says up here our legal affairs teams, but I'm not aware Just want to get that out on the table. But, I'm responsible for working with third-party partnerships and strategy. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Synacor, we operate 3 lines of business. And the first is what we call our portal business. So we operate the space of the ecosystem where we work mostly with Tier 2 and Tier 3 ISPs and MVPDs. So if the big 3 take up, 80% of the households, in terms of household tax in the United States, the remaining 20% are the other 80% of the MVPDs, ISPs, which constitute about 200 entities actually. And what we do is we work within this ecosystem to build, power, program, market, and monetize the consumer-facing portals. So examples of these are CenturyLink, Cincinnati Bell, Wide Open West, if you've heard of those. But the outlier to this, in terms of Tier 1 partners, AT&T. So we actually won the business away a year ago from Yahoo, and we now power AT&T.net. So if you go on there, all of that is Synacor in partnership with AT&T. Our second line of business is an open source email business called Zimbra. We also acquired about a year and a half ago. We operate 500 million email boxes worldwide. It's a combination of both enterprise and consumer email. So this allows us to, for CenturyLink, for example, provide both the portal, and we also power their consumer email box. So we sign up to become one of their subscribers. Then we cross-pollinate, we market, and we monetize. And then our third area is our video business, which a big part of this will be germane to today's conversation, where we operate our cloud-based authentication solution that we call Cloud ID. And we work with both programmers and operators to enable single sign-on solutions that are cloud-based, as well as media supply chain solutions that are code injections, transcoding, CDN, etc., as well as going through purchasing in terms of what we call Adweek. The basic idea around these solutions is we want to knock down as many barriers as possible to allow consumers to get access to either existing or new content in the world of OTT.
Perfect. No? Still? Oh, good evening. Okay, thank you. We'll pass and share as we go. We won't have to fight over mics or anything. But to get us started, I'd love to know from your guys' perspectives, what, if any, differences there are between the streaming OTT world and kind of the more traditional media world. It sounds like to some people it might be 2 totally different things, but to those of us who are maybe cord cutters or cord nevers, it's starting to look more and more the same. So I'd love to hear from your company's perspective, from your perspective, what are those differences between the streaming and OTT worlds, and how should we be treating streaming in general? Anybody can grab it.
I'll start fast, although I'm not sure this is working. Is that? Okay, now it's working. Maybe I'll just do this. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Okay, we'll come back to this. All right. So when we think about OTT, I generally think about it in terms of OTT enables consumers for video to access video content where they want it, when they want it, and on what platform. So it enables all of sort of that multi-touch, multi-engagement capability. That's difference number 1. Number 2 is in terms of technology. The technology and infrastructure necessary to develop OTT capabilities is generally quite different, quite new versus the legacy infrastructure. And then the third has to do with the pervasiveness of new business models in terms of advertising base, subscriber base, hybrids, free, in terms of bundle packages, standalone, a la carte. It's a bit of the Wild West in terms of the ecosystem at the moment.
Does this work? Yeah. I think in just a few short years, OTT and TV will be synonymous, and we'll sort of part with this idea of, it came in through my cable box, it came in through this other thing called inevitably Roku. I don't think maybe some of us in older demos have that sort of tug on our idea of what TV is, but I think for most consumers it's the thing you do when you sit on your couch and you watch something on your large screen television. And there are differences in what you can get in OTT today. There's still some content gaps relative to what you can get through a traditional cable package. Those gaps are closing.
certainly there's a lot more choice. And I think that's the defining characteristic of the phase of TV that we're heading into, is we're moving out of a world where you're going to be able to only choose from the silver, gold, or platinum package picked by somebody in programming at a large MVPD. That world is going away. You're going to be able to mix and match and really have hundreds, thousands of different permutations of how you define TV. But I think the basic habit of sitting and watching 4K TV in the living room and watching an increasing proliferation of different kinds of content, I think that's TV. I think that's what OTT is.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think that the most important drivers in the traditional TV experience and the OTT or the digital experience is about curation, right? So I do think that that's an interesting part, and I want to underscore the consumer experience here, because the lean back experience is still significant to television. And mind you, we're talking about television, it's content. And so it's really about that big glass in the living room, right? And the fact that you can view it on multiple devices and take it with you is wonderful, but for the most part, consumers still love lean back and just check out and being able to have content pour over you. But what's important in that is that curation, right? Because you have hundreds of thousands of permutation of content today that's available, and you don't have that traditional channel lineup where you just go to your 15 set channels, that's your comfort zone. You can really search and explore a lot of different types of content, but you don't want to have to do that every time you sit down. So how can we get to a spot where you're able to kind of program your favorites within an OTT experience? That would be a significant step forward. The other thing is the ad load. I think I have been turned away from traditional television because of the bloated ad load. I just can't stand it anymore, right? So digital, however, is a little bit, today, I don't know if that might be an evolution, but today.
I'm just stuck on the bloated
So that bloated ad load, turns a lot of viewers off, and that's where, we kind of check out. But we do know for a fact that streaming actually drives better engagement, so that's a plus. Now, if we can put that and balance that with an appropriate ad load, I think that we will maintain a growing audience and a better consumer experience than traditional television. So those few things, and then lastly, navigation. How do you find the content that you want, right? So if you can curate it, having to scroll through screen after screen after screen, because we have the technical capability to support tons of content today and moving forward. So the exploration and finding that content and being able to program into your personalized viewing experience, that to me would be a huge step forward and a big, I don't want to say television killer, but yeah.
So we'll probably use the term streaming, OTT, SVOD synonymously. So I just forgive if we love acronyms in this business, but just a little context. When I talk about streaming, it's obviously Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, but I also I think about HBO and Showtime. And the biggest difference that we see is, for the most part, none of them accept advertising. No, we might be the exception. And so why is that important? Well, when we talk to our clients or potential clients, they ask us, tell us about this emerging streaming space. And we stop right there and we said, these platforms aren't emerging, they are winning, and they're winning significantly. And we walk through some data points. So Netflix, for example, 52 million US subscribers. If you count how many people share passwords, it's closer to 65 or 70 million. It's a huge number. Amazon, through our own analysis, through Prime Video, 48 million. Hulu, a little smaller, 12 million. So those are massive audiences. You start to add on top of that, again, this is some proprietary analysis we've done, looking at those audience sizes and some of the shows, we were blown away. We've been doing this for the last 6 or 7 months. Every single month we do surveys. Netflix is now larger than Fox from an impression basis, and will be larger than CBS and NBC in probably a year and a half to 2 years. So when we're talking to advertisers, yet some of the biggest advertisers in the world and on television, we explain to them, you need to invest in the space of integration because consumers are moving away from, largely from broadcast and ad-supported television. So that's the biggest thing we drive home to them. And when they see the data that we share about the size of the audiences, how rapidly they're moving, they immediately understand how important it is for them to invest in this category.
I mean, I was with you right until you said no ad supported. Because on Roku, it's our fastest growing segment of apps, both kind of pure play, only ads, free ad supported channels as well as hybrid channels. All the TV everywhere, all the MVPD, all the virtual MVPD business models are dual business models, both subscription and ad supported. It's our fastest growing segment. It's one of the top terms consumers look for when they're researching their Roku. And our read of why that's happening is we all already have a Netflix subscription, as you dutifully raised your hands. And so as people cut and shape the cord and move more of their time to OTT, they're looking for value. And they're not just looking for that value in terms of another $9 subscription on top of another one, on top of another one. They're looking for free stuff. So we've seen a significant acceleration. That said, I totally agree that the ad model needs to change. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. Consumers will not accept 16 minutes on the hour of advertising. Yeah, they just won't take it. And so it's incumbent on all of us to come up with a smarter ad model that respects the fact that it's a more empowered consumer. Right? Ads have got to get smarter, work harder, and respect the fact that with tens, hundreds of thousands of content choices, a consumer could tune away like that, or they can move back to their Netflix subscription where they don't have to experience it.
And I don't think the ad model is going away, but it's clearly it's under stress. And so what we offer our clients is a hedge, as an alternative, to say, look, you spend millions, sometimes billions of dollars a year. We clearly are going to have digital with Facebook and Google gobbling up a lot of that money. We're going to continue to invest in television advertising. Integration is something we need to take very seriously because if it's done well, and this is where we can help, it can actually be a meaningful part of an advertising spend and help brands in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I also think we need to your point, innovate beyond the interruptive 15, 30-second spot model and look at other ways, whether it's brand integrations or, in our case at Roku, integrations into the user interface as you're discovering what you want to watch, new ways for brands to speak to the new TV here.
We found at Nielsen that when you do have an appropriately placed and quality placement brand or product within the program, that when you do augment that with an ad, that the ad resonance is actually increased significantly. So it could increase 12 to 15% on the effectiveness of the ad when positioned well with a placement. So we're not saying it has to be black or white, one or the other. It actually starts to harmonize quite well when you bring these worlds together. Because then you know the value of an ad on through your television, your connected television, or is it traditional television channel?
It's a traditional television channel that launches the app interface for you.
And you can navigate
Yeah.
through it.
Right, but it is on the set-top box.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would fall into our traditional television ad rates. So we measure it. If it were an app through an OTT device and it's YouTube television, just like Netflix, you can get on your set-top box or your OTT, we would measure that through our total content rating. So we've got it covered in both areas. Okay, so it is dependent. So with a situation like that, it still falls into C3, C7, and the ad load mirrors the digital ad load.
But
Okay.
most of the stuff on YouTube is not going to be
It's
watermarked,
correct. So it is the linear television that we will measure. We're not measuring the other. Yeah, exactly. It's the linear television. Does that make sense? It's available on YouTube TV.
But this is not YouTube TV, it's just YouTube.
It's just YouTube.
But
So-
through a television channel.
Right. So if it's the linear program only. Right. So if it's not linear, if it's short form only, then that would not be measured through the television ad ratings. And measured on the digital side through total content ratings, just on digital.
This question is for Greg. You were talking about your company's product placement and the creative aspect of it. So how will you approach HBO, Game of Thrones, Hulu, The Handmaid's Tale, and Netflix, Black Mirror? Which of those three shows would it be easier to place an advertising in terms of the water cooler, make a connection, real life, futuristic product that people can relate to?
I will tell you Game of Thrones will never happen. It's the running joke. HBO is a great partner of ours that we always say we'd love to have a Jon Snow fleece. We tell Eddie Bauer LLD, but it's never going to happen, obviously. But maybe I'll level the conversation a little bit. When we talk to the production, so our philosophy is there are a lot of stakeholders that go into making, let's say, a TV show. There's the producer, there's the director, there are the writers, those are the names we know. They're the prop masters, they're the set designers, they're the transportation people. Our goal is to surround them all and understand what do they need. And so in some cases a production may say to a producer, look, they like the economics of getting money from brands to be on screen. So we help facilitate that. In other cases, the transportation person may say, you know what, I need 3 GM cars, Escalades, to help me do that because it helps me save money. We help facilitate that. But the most important thing is does it help move the story forward? And this is where we consider ourselves a science-based company, but there's also a lot of art that we do. And so when we work with productions, we try to understand specifically what are their goals. And in a lot of cases, again, it could be a hybrid thing. It could be they like some money, it could be they would like the product on set, and it all could be they just want really cool, authentic products to help move the story forward. So we did 5,000 integrations last year in 2016. We're going to do more this year. I mean, there's a lot of know-how that goes into that business. So it really depends on every situation. But the 2 out of the 3, except for the House of Cards, we actually did integrations. So we think we've found a good rhythm in figuring out what makes the most sense for the productions. In this case, the brand is hugely important because ultimately they're going on screen. And then arguably the most important is the consumer.